Good morning, children. Today we'll be moving towards to the new chapter, that is changing face of the Indian democracy. As in the previous chapter, that was challenges to Indian democracy, I had already explained you about the emergency, when emergency was imposed by Indira Gandhi on 25th June 1975, just to safeguard her position. A certain democracy was been suspended. All the leaders of the opposition party were been arrested, put behind the bars. All the opposition political party was been declared illegal, and it was been completely banned. Most of the leaders were been arrested, especially in Tamil Nadu. M.K. Karunanidhi government was been dissolved. His son M.K. Stalin was been arrested under maintenance of Internal Security Act. Thereafter, a lot of criticism was been made for the emergency era, which I've already explained you. Then finally, Indira Gandhi lifted up the emergency on 21st March 1977, and she declared for the election. As you know very well, in this election, which has been held in 1977, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, her son Sanjay Gandhi, and most of the loyal followers of Indira Gandhi, they lost their Lok Sabha seats. It was been said that the Congress completely was been defeated. The Janata Party, which was been formed under the guidance of JP, they came to the power, and the first non-Congress party was there to form a government in the center, that is in India. So finally, with a massive majority, Morarji Desai became the first non-Congress Prime Minister of India. So now today we'll be moving towards to the changing face of the Indian democracy from the year 1977 to 1986. Now, here we will be doing about the return of Congress to power. Now, once again, the Congress is coming to the power after the defeat in the year 1977. So now let's see, how did the Congress came to power? What was the center-state relations with reference to Punjab, the separate state demands, the center's response, and all. Okay. Despite a strong start, the Janata government were very weak since its inception. See, from the very initial stage, I told you, in the year 1977, Janata Party, they formed the government at the center. Though they had a very strong start, but it has been said that from the initial step only, from the early time only, the Janata government was very, very weak. Socialist and secular Janata politicians did not like Vajpayee, Advani, and other leaders who came from former Bharatiya Janata Sangh because of the Hindu nationalist agenda of the RSS. Say, why? What was the conflict in Janata government? See, socialist and the secular Janata politicians, the socialist politicians of Janata Party and the secular politicians of Janata Party, they never liked Vajpayee, Advani, and the leaders who had come from the former Bharatiya Janata Sangh, because different opposition party, okay, they were combined together under the guidance of JP. Then a Janata Party was been formed. Okay, because their main aim was to throw away the Congress from the power, and they did it in the year 1977. But slowly and slowly, the dispute started rising within the Janata government, because the socialist and the secular Janata politicians, they did not like the leaders who came from Bharatiya Janata Sangha, because they had got the Hindu nationalist agenda of RSS. Now, RSS, though it's not a political party, it's a socialist party, it's a social party, but they are very much inclined towards to the Hindu nationalist agenda. And Advani, Vajpayee, then other leaders, okay, who were from the Bharatiya Janata Sangha, they had a influence of RSS. So that is the reason why socialist and the secular Janata politicians, they did not like. So from here we can very easily understand a certain dispute was going on within the Janata government. Thus Vajpayee and Advani, as well as other members of the former BJS resigned. So because of non-similar of the ideas, the views, the concept okay, with the former leaders of BJS, that is Bharatiya Janata Sangh. That is the reason why Vajpayee, Advani, and all the leaders, they completely resigned from the government. Is it clear? Due to health ground, JP also remained aloof from politics. See, because of the health problem, okay, because of the health problem, the pillar of this Janata Party, let's say JP, Jai Prakash Narayan, popularly known as JP, because of his health ground, he completely were very much away from politics. He was not very much now active in politics. So what happened? He was very much aloof from politics, and finally he died in the year 1979, deprived the Janata Party of its most popular leaders. Same. Slowly and slowly, most important leaders of the Janata Party, okay, are quitting the party. Like, for example, I told you, Vajpayee, Advani, they resigned. It was during this time, Morarji Desai also resigned from the government and retired from active parties. Politics. See, Morarji Desai, who was declared as the first non-Congress Prime Minister of India, he also resigned from the government and retired. Now he doesn't want to actively participate in politics. In the other hand side, on the health ground, JP also remained away from the politics. Finally, he died in 1979, which really deprived the Janata Party, the most popular leader, I told you. Okay, JP was the pillar of Janata Party. His death had really shaken the Janata Party. Is it clear? President Reddy now appointed Charan Singh as the Prime Minister of a minority government on the strength of 64 MPs. Now, the moment Morarji Desai resigned from the government, during that time, Reddy was the President of India. He appointed Charan Singh as the Prime Minister of a minority government. Just they had a strength of 64 MPs only. Now, a number of Janata MPs now refuse to support this minority ministry. See the most important point out here. Though Charan Singh was being elected as the Prime Minister of a minority government, okay, though they had a strength of only 64 MPs, most of the members of the Janata Party, most of the members of Parliament of Janata Party, they were not willing to support the minority government ministry. They said that we are not in the support of this minority ministry. So after only 3 weeks in office, Charan Singh resigned. See, remember, the shortest term whoever had taken the post of Prime Minister, Charan Singh, just 3 weeks. Just he stayed in the seat of Prime Minister for 3 weeks. Finally, he resigned. With no other political party in opposition to establish a majority, President Reddy dissolved the parliament and called fresh election in January 1980. See, now there wasn't any other political party in that position who can establish a majority in the house. There wasn't any other political party. So in this case, what happened? President will be having a power to dissolve the Lok Sabha. Is that clear? Got it? So President Reddy, he completely dissolved the parliament and he declared for the fresh election. Try to understand. Here I'm coming to the point by point. Actually, what was the main problem, okay, which was there with the Janata government? Charan Singh resigned only after 3 weeks because he was not supported by maximum number of Janata MPs, okay, Janata Party MPs. So he resigned. There wasn't any other political party who were there in that position to establish the majority. That was the reason why President Reddy, he completely dissolved the parliament and he declared for the fresh election in the year 1980. The remaining Janata Party leaders tried unsuccessfully to rebuild the party but failed. See, the remaining Janata Party, they tried their best. They tried their best to rebuild the party, but obviously they could not success it. Is it clear? They were not able, okay, they were not able to unite the Janata Party now. Now the Janata Party was being fragmented. It was being broken into small pieces. Is it clear? Indira Gandhi and the Congress I party came back to power with a strong majority. So finally, Indira Gandhi and the Congress I party, they came to the power at a strong majority. With a full majority, now again, Indira Gandhi came to the power. In the meantime, Indira Gandhi apologized for her mistake made during the emergency. Now, here,
this time when she returned to the power, when Indira Gandhi and the Congress I came to the power, here Indira Gandhi is regretting. She really apologized. She said, sorry, yes, I had made a blunder mistake during the emergency, which I should not have done. Is it clear? She is apologizing for the mistake that she had made during the emergency. In 1984, Indira Gandhi was assassinated. So finally, in the year 1984, Indira Gandhi was been killed. Following this incident, the Congress I leaders nominated Rajiv Gandhi as the next prime minister. Okay, see, during that time, Indira Gandhi was the prime minister. In the year 1984, she was been killed. Okay, she was been assassinated. Because of this incident, now Congress I leaders, they nominated Rajiv Gandhi, the son of Indira Gandhi, as the next prime minister. Is it clear? Now Rajiv Gandhi was been appointed as a prime minister in the place of Indira Gandhi. In Punjab, a movement started known as Khalistan Movement, which wanted to create a separate Sikh country. Here, now try to understand what was the political scenario in India during that time. In the state of Punjab, they started a movement which is known as Khalistan Movement. Let's see what was their main agenda, what was their main demand. Their main demand was to create a separate Sikh country. They wanted a Sikh country. Okay. The movement reached towards to the highest point in the year 1970s and 80s. In 1970s and 80s, this Khalistan movement reached towards to the highest point. The Akali Dal, led by the series of peaceful mass demonstration to protest its grievances to the central government. See, it was during this time the most powerful political party of Punjab, named as Akali Dal. Okay, Akali Dal, they started leading a plenty of peaceful mass demonstration just to present their grievances, just to place their problems before the central government. A lot of demonstration was being done. A very peaceful demonstration was being done by Akali Dal. The demands of Akali Dal were based on Anandpur Sahib resolution. See, let's see actually what was the demand of this Akali Dal. They had held one meeting and they had passed one resolution which is known as Anandpur Sahib resolution. This resolution was been adopted by Akali Dal, the party, in October 1973. See, this was their demand. Let's see what were the demands of Akali Dal. And their demand was based on the Anandpur Sahib resolution adopted by the party in October 1973. See, let's see, this resolution has 7 objectives. Number 1, the transfer of the federal administrative city of Chandigarh to Punjab. See, the administrative city of Chandigarh should be transferred to Punjab. Is it clear? Are you understanding? Number 1 demand. 2, the transfer of Punjab speaking and contiguous areas of Haryana to Punjab. See, the Punjabi speaking people and the areas of Haryana should be transferred to Punjab. All the Punjabi speaking people who are residing in Haryana, they should be transferred to Punjab. Decentralization of states under the existing constitution, limiting the central government's role. See, the states should be decentralized. Okay, under the existing constitution, whatever the constitution has granted, under the constitution, the states should be decentralized. That means the limited power of the central government should be there in the state. That means state should not have overpower over the central should not have overpower towards the state. So the limiting central government's role. In the state, the central government's role should be limited. The call for land reforms and industrialization of Punjab, along with safeguarding the rights of the weaker section of the population. Next demand, number 4 demand, they already said that a certain land reforms, certain changes should be made on the land taxes. And in Punjab, industries has to be set up. Industrialization of Punjab. In Punjab, industries has to be set up, along with safeguarding the rights of the weaker section of the population. Whoever, okay, the weaker section, the weaker group of people who are living in Punjab, their rights should be protected. The enactment of All India Gurudwara Act. See, one act has to be introduced which is known as an All India Gurudwara. Gurudwara, it's a Sikh house of worship, you know very well. It is a place where Sikh go and worship. So that law should be enacted. And the protection of minorities residing outside Punjab but within India. See, any minorities who are residing outside Punjab, but if they are living within India, within India, then this minority should be protected. And the reservation of government's recruitment quota restricting the number of Sikhs in armed forces, say, and a certain recruitment quota should be reserved. Government's recruitment quota restricting the number of Sikhs in armed forces. That means a certain quota in the army should be reserved for the Punjabi or for the Sikh. Is it clear? The resolution thus demanded that after the formation of compact state with adjoining Sikh majority territory, the unions shall have jurisdiction over the state only with respect to 5 subjects, namely defense, external affairs, post and telegraphs, currency, and railway. See, another demand of this resolution was that after a very strong state will be formed with adjoining Sikh majority territories, whichever territories falls under Sikh, okay, the union will have jurisdiction. The union will control only in the 5 subject. Okay, after the Punjab will be having a compact state, a very strong state, comprising of all the Sikh majority territories. The union will be having the jurisdiction. The union will be looking after over the state only on the 5 subject. Those are defense, external affairs, post and telegraphs, currency, and railway. Particularly, the whole of union list and a good number of items of the concurrent list were thus ousted from the control of the central government. And they said that practically, actually, what they wanted is that whole union list and certain items of the concurrent list who have been completely removed from the control of the central government. That means the central government should not have control over the concurrent list and in certain part of the union list. But it is to be remembered that the Akalis do not constitute the entire Sikh population of Punjab. But one thing should be remembered. All the Sikh population of Punjab, they are not in the party called Akali Dal. Remember one thing. Is it clear? This should be remembered. That the Akalis do not constitute. Akali Dal means it doesn't mean the entire Sikh population of Punjab. The other Sikh did not support the Akali demand. See, there are some Sikh in Punjab who never supported the demand of Akali Dal. So, the Akali even failed to win the support of the Sikh President of India or even the Sikh Chief Minister of the state of Punjab to their side. See, the Akalis were not successful. The Akalis were not successful to get the support of the then Sikh President. During that time in India, the President was Sikh. Okay, Akali Dal were not able to win the support of the Sikh President, nor the Akali were able to win the support of the Sikh Sikh Chief Minister of Punjab. Even they were not able to win the support of the Chief Minister of Punjab to their side. So, as a whole, we can say that whole Sikh population of Punjab, they were not in the favor of Akali Dal. Some of the Sikh population, they did not support the demand. Okay, leave all this thing. Even the Akali Dal were not able to get the support of the Sikh President of India and the Sikh Chief Minister of Punjab itself only. Okay, now finally you know very well, Congress came to the power. Now I will be moving towards to the most important point, Operation Blue Star. Let's see what it is. Let's see what it is. What do this Operation Blue Star refers? What does it mean? The question may come in the ISC. Try to understand, my dear children. In the year 1980s, some of the members of Khalistan turned to militancy, resulting in counter-militancy operation by the Indian security forces. Say, in the year 1980s, what happened? Some of the members of the Khalistan, some of the members of the Khalistan, they turned to militancy. The members of Khalistan, they took up the weapons. And they were being counter-attacked by the military operation, by the Indian security force. The members of the Khalistan, in one hand side, they took up a militant operation. In the other hand side, the military also started, the Indian security forces also started the military operations. In one such operation named as Operation Blue Star in June 1984. Operation Blue Star, June 1984. Let's see actually what happened. In this operation, the Indian forces entered the Holy Golden Temple to overpower the militants who took shelter there. So it came to the notice that some of the militants has taken a shelter in a Holy Golden Temple that is in Amritsar. You know very well. Is it clear? So the Indian forces, they started this operation which is known as Operation Blue Star. These Indian forces, they completely entered towards to the Holy Golden Temple, and they wanted to completely wipe out all the militants who had taken the shelter out there. The operation led to loss of lives on both sides. See, on the both sides, even the Khalistan members, they lost their lives. Even the Indian forces also, they lost their life in these operations. Okay, because from both the sides, the bullets were going on. Is it clear? Are you understanding? They were using the weapons, so we can say that the operation led the loss of lives on both sides. The Sikhs started widespread criticism of the Indian government. See, during this time when the Indian forces enter into the holy temple, that is Holy Golden Temple, and started fighting out there. Okay, let's say during that time there was an atmosphere like a war type of atmosphere was going on. Okay, the bullets were being shot from the both sides. For this incident, okay, the Sikhs started criticizing the Indian government. In the meantime, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was assassinated, following which large-scale disturbances started and a number of Sikhs were being killed. See, it was during this time Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was being killed. Okay, because of this incident. It was been said, see, as I've told you, the Sikhs started criticizing the step taken by the Indian government. Because of this only, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was been killed, and it was been said that Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was been killed or was been assassinated by Sikh. Okay, so now the government also started taking a great initiative to suppress that movement and started killing the number of Sikhs wherever they met. The number of Sikhs who have been killed in the large scale. Is it clear? This is what we call Operation Blue Star. Actually, the Indian forces had entered in the Holy Golden Temple just to wipe out all the militants who had taken shelter out there. But the Sikh took up in the another way. They started criticizing the government. Is it clear? Because of this government, they entered in the Holy Temple and they started actually, yes, to have a bloodshed. Okay, to have a bloodshed in a such a religious places. Obviously it hurts the sentiments of the followers, you know very well. So similarly, okay, the sentiments of Sikh were been greatly hurt, so they started criticizing the action taken by the Indian government. So it was during this time only Indira Gandhi was being assassinated, and the rumors started spreading that Indira Gandhi was being killed by a Sikh. So because of this incident, the large scale disturbances started taking place in India, where number of Sikhs were being killed. Is it clear? I hope so you understood what is the meaning of Operation Blue Star. Now, let us move to another accord or a agreement, Longowal Accord, Rajiv Longowal Accord we call it. Let's see what is this. Accord means an agreement. It's a treaty. Is it clear? Longowal, the president of Akali Dal. So now Rajiv Gandhi and the president of Akali Dal, they sat together to have an agreement. Okay, because see, the situation was very tense now. Okay, the situation is very tense now. They wanted to settle down with a agreement. Okay, with a dialogue and all. Subsequent to the preceding events in July 1985, after the assassination of Rajiv Gandhi as a prime minister, a momentous event took place. Okay, thereafter, after the July 1985, when Rajiv Gandhi was being elected as a prime minister of India, a very good event took place. A momentous event took place. Let's see what was that momentous event. The momentous event is known as an agreement called the Punjab Accord or Rajiv Longowal Accord. Okay, so this can be called as Punjab Accord. Punjab Accord or Rajiv Longowal Accord. Now, an agreement called the Punjab Accord or Rajiv Longowal Accord was entered into between the Prime Minister of India and the Sant Longowal, the President of Akali Dal. See, Rajiv Gandhi, he was the Prime Minister of India, and Sant Longowal, he was the President of the Akali Dal. So these two great politicians, okay, they sat together to solve the problem which was going in Punjab. Is it clear? So that we call as a Punjab Accord or can be called as Rajiv Longowal Accord. Don't get confused out here. So they entered to an agreement. Okay, an agreement was been signed between Prime Minister of India, Rajiv Gandhi, and the Sant Longowal, who is the President of the Akali Dal. It was then decided that the Anandpur Sahib resolution would be referred to the Sarkaria Commission. Then finally, they came to a conclusion, okay, the resolution which was been adopted at Anandapur Sahib resolution, which I have already told you in the previous paragraphs, which was adopted by Akali Dal in October 1973, that will be referred to a commission which is known as Sarkaria Commission. Now, that resolution would be sent to Sarkaria Commission. Not only that, it was also decided in this agreement that some Hindi-speaking areas of Punjab would be transferred to Haryana in lieu of Chandigarh, which would come over to Punjab from Haryana. It was also decided some Hindi-speaking areas of Punjab, whichever areas are there where the people speak Hindi languages of Punjab, that would be transferred to Haryana. Is it clear? That Hindi-speaking areas of Punjab would be transferred to Haryana, and instead of that, Chandigarh will come over to Punjab from Haryana. Is it clear? Chandigarh is in Haryana. Got it? From Chandigarh, Chandigarh, which is in Haryana, it will come to Punjab, and from Punjab, the Hindi-speaking areas that will be taken back to Haryana. Is that clear? So this agreement was also been done. This was also been decided in this agreement. The accord recognized the religious, territorial, and economic demands of Sikh that were thought to be non-negotiable under Indira Gandhi's tenure. See, even the accord also recognized, yes, whichever thought demands were there of the Sikh, which was not negotiated during Indira Gandhi's tenure. In this accord, which was been signed by Prime Minister Rajiv Gandhi, he recognized the religious, territorial, and economic demands of the Sikh. That did not happen under the Indira Gandhi's tenure, but Rajiv Gandhi, he accepted that demand. But the Punjab Accord, however, failed to make any settlement of the Punjab problem for a number of reasons. But see, though the Punjab Accord was been signed, okay, though Punjab Accord was been signed, but it was not a great success. They failed to make any sort of settlement of the problem which was there with Punjab for a number of reasons. Let's see. Number one, the Punjab authority failed to submit the state government's case to the Sarkaria Commission. See, actually, Anandpur Sahib resolution was to be referred to Sarkaria Commission, but what happened? The Punjab government, the Punjab authority, they were not able to submit state government's case to Sarkaria Commission. The commission appointed to find out the Hindi-speaking areas of Punjab which were to be given over to Haryana in lieu of Chandigarh failed to complete the work due to repeated objection of various sorts being raised by the Punjab government. See, even the commission was been appointed, and actually the commission had to find out the Hindi-speaking areas, and that Hindi-speaking areas of Punjab should be given to Haryana. Yes or no? And the Chandigarh would come over to Punjab, but the state government, the Punjab government, were failed to complete the work. Is it clear? The Punjab government were not succeeded to do this work. The Mon group elected to parliament in November 1980 raised new demands every day, thus deferring any amicable settlement with the central government. The Mon group, which has been elected to the parliament in November 1980, every day they used to raise up the new demands. Okay, every day the new demands they raised so that they could not come to the final settlement with the central government. Today, they place forward one demand, tomorrow another new demand, day after tomorrow another new demand. So how could they come under the settlement with the central government? So these were certain reasons, okay, these were the certain reasons where the Punjab Accord, however, failed to make any settlement. They were not able to solve the problem of Punjab. Election was being held in Punjab in 1992, as a result of which Congress I formed the government. See, finally, in Punjab, in 1992, the election took place. In Punjab also, Congress I formed the government. It seems that a result of unabated police action in Punjab, the Khalistani terrorist groups had left Punjab but dispersed throughout India. See, finally, Congress I came to the power. Even in Punjab, they formed the government. But finally, the action which was being taken by police in Punjab, the Khalistani terrorist groups, they left Punjab. Due to the action taken by the police in Punjab, the Khalistani terrorists, they left Punjab, but they started scattering and started living in the other parts of our country called India. Is it clear? They started living in the different parts of India. Okay, my dear children, so today I'll end up my class out here. We have completed the return of Congress to power, the Operation Blue Star, very important. Punjab Accord or Rajiv Longolal Accord, very important. Okay, so please go through it. If you in our next classes, okay, we'll move further with another
chapters. Okay. So thank you very much for today.